Welcome back to another Tableau video. We are going to be building this Mission to Mars dashboard, which I absolutely love. I can't wait to share it. Let's go. So here we are for another Tableau tutorial, and this one is very different from the ones I've done in the past because, well, there's not very much on it. It's simply just a bar chart, but the way we space it out, the styling that we choose is what makes it captivating. And people ask me, well, how do you make your dashboard so clean? We're going to go through all those secrets today. So to get started with this project, we need the data set. So click on the description, the link in the description below, I should say, and it'll take you to this Mission to Mars page on the Jellyman Education website. And if you click on the coming from YouTube section, right, you'll see this image. You can either click the image or the download file. It will take you to Google Drive and you can download it from here. And all you have to do is press this button up here and it will give you a zip file, and all you have to do is extract that file. Now that we have the data set and it's been extracted, you will see 4 files here. The one we're interested in to begin with is the space flights dataset. I've got Tableau Public open here because someone asked me a question on, can you do these tutorials with Tableau Public? Absolutely, you do not need the paid version. So what we want to do is just bring this dataset and just drag it. You could literally drag it anywhere here. So here we go, drag. I always prefer drag. It just makes it easier rather than trying to search for the files. So you just want to give that a few seconds. It's going to connect to the data set and it's going to read it. It's going to assign all the data types. There we go. And you can see you've got the year, the launch date, a bunch of strings, some numbers, and that is it. So that's as simple as it is to load data into Tableau. And here on the bottom left, you're going to see sheet 1. Click on that, this big orange button. Again, give it a few seconds. Don't be like those people that click like crazy. And we are now in design mode. Now that we've got the data loaded up, let's talk about the actual dashboard itself, in why it's such a captivating type of dashboard. And the secret is actually spacing. So if you look here, there's a lot of space. There's a lot of space. All right, and I would actually even add more space here, really add more space. Space is one of the big secrets of Tableau dashboards, and removing any formatting that isn't necessary. If you look here, even the line that goes across here for the axis line is gone. The line here is gone, the line here is gone, because they don't really add value. If anything, they're more of a distraction. We don't have a whole bunch of borders, we don't have a background that's conflicting, and that's the key with these dashboards. When you look at this one, for example, I've got Superstore here. This is what I see professionally all the time. Everything is so close together, it's hard to kind of read it. It looks very busy, it's hard to get to the point, and these are actually good ones. I've seen professionally really bad ones. So let's go ahead and start building. And we're going to start with the bar chart. We're going to start with the bar chart. So we need a bar that goes this way. So to do that, we're going to bring altitude into columns. So we simply drag it into columns. And that's the first step. And that just gives us the aggregated value of all the altitudes together. But what we really want is to split this up by launch date and mission vehicle. So let's go ahead and do that. So launch date. Okay, now when you do this, it's automatically going to set it to year, which is, let's see if that's how we did it on the other one. All right, so we've got all the years here, which is fine. And then we're going to do mission vehicle next. There you go. And that's basically the fundamental structure of a bar chart. And we're now just going to tweak it to make it a little bit more interesting. So on the other one, you'll see it's actually got a rounded bit on the end. That's actually just a circle on the end. So neat little trick. We're going to add some coloring. And that is basically it. Okay, so we're going to go up here in this section. We're going to go entire view. And that just stretches it to fill out the page. Okay, there we go. And then to add those circles, we actually need altitude again, because we're going to do a dual axis that puts the circle there. And if you don't understand how that works, I cover dual axes in my courses. So again, be sure to check that out. We're going to bring in altitude again. So now we have two sets of bars of the same thing. But on the second one, when you click it, just a regular left click, it's going to activate this section here. You see this corresponds to this one. Okay, and this other one corresponds to this one, and so on and so forth. So here on the second one, we're going to change this from automatic to circle. There you go. And then we're going to do a dual axis. So whenever you do a dual axis, it's really two sets of measures overlapping on each other, and you can only ever apply it on the right side. Okay, so if you're ever confused where the button is, so if I right click here, you're going to see dual axis, but if I right click the left one, it's not there. So people will go, well, where's the dual axis? It's not activating. You always got to put it on the right one, because the idea is this one will overlap the other one. It goes like that. Okay, so let's go right click, dual axis. Okay, now don't freak out. The reason it's done that is because in this first one, which corresponds to this, it's set to automatic. So what Tableau does is, depending on your arrangement, it's going to try and guess what's the best visualization. We actually want this to be a bar. So just go ahead and switch this to bar. Okay, just so it's explicit. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to reduce the width of this bar a little bit. And don't fixate on trying to get this perfect just yet. The reason is because when you put it into the dashboard, it will resize again. So we do that at the very end. Now on this second one here, we're also going to adjust the circle just a little bit. And the reason I do this is because right now we're kind of going into this knowing what we're going to build. But when you're building this for the first time, you don't know. So learning how to kind of play with it to see, okay, that looks pretty good, that looks pretty interesting, to get a general feel for your build is ideal. Okay, and now we want to add some color, and because the coloring we're using for the circle and the bar is the same, we can apply it to this whole section. And all we need to do is add sum of altitude into color. That's it. Very, very simple stuff. Altitude into color. And see how it's colored everything at once. I don't have to do it in 2 steps. And we're going to change this to the color we had in this one, which is black red. So I'm going to click on color, edit colors, color palette. We're going to go red, black, diverging. And I want the higher numbers to be red. So I want to swap these. And the way to do it is click reversed. And go apply. Let's just see how it looks. And go OK. And that's pretty much the bar chart. Easy. So now that we have the basic bar chart, we're already ready to start compiling the dashboard. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so to create a dashboard, we simply go down here and press this button. Okay, so we press that and it'll take us to dashboard mode. And we're going to maximize the, not maximize, we're going to set it to a certain size. So we're going to go fixed size, and I'm going to go 1600 by 900, just as a standard go-to ratio. And let's bring it in. So when you bring in the bar chart, it's going to, it looks like you can't put it anywhere except the back piece. Okay. And the reason for that is because when you go down here, you're in tiled mode. And what that means is every time you bring an element in, it's trying to fit it as tiles, like so. So you don't really have much control in terms of where it's gonna actually sit. So we want to switch this to floating, this one here. And watch what happens now when I bring it in. See, I can now put it anywhere. Okay, and that's all you do. Drag and drop for dashboard, super easy. And remember what I said, don't worry about the sizing. Look how the sizing is affected depending on the ratio. So that's why we don't worry about it at the beginning. We don't need this legend. We just get rid of that. And we're just going to put it roughly where we think it's going to go. Just rough. Because we're going to use containers later to size this properly. Okay, that's the first one. And then we're going to bring in a text box. So here on the bottom left, you're going to see text. And this is for the JFK quote on the top. So again, leaving it in floating mode. Bring up the text here. And you're going to get this window. Now, when you go to the file that you downloaded, you're going to see this text file. If you open that up, you're going to see the quote in there. There we go. And we're just going to copy this, Control C, come back here, and Control V or right click paste. Either way. I'm not going to worry about the formatting just yet, because remember, at the beginning, you're only worried about placement. And this is true when you're doing this professionally as well, because the first time we build dashboards for people, we don't know if they're going to like it. We don't know if it's actually what they want. So the first one can be a little bit rough, a little bit ugly. It doesn't have to be perfect. And as they settle on and decide on what they want, then you can kind of start fixating on the format, how it looks, how it feels, and all that. Otherwise, you're just wasting time. Now we need 2 images, one for the title and one for Mars. So here on the bottom left, you're going to see image. So we're going to bring that in, again, floating, and just roughly where it goes. And when you drop it in, Tableau takes a second and you'll get this dialog box. We're just going to hit choose, and we're going to look for the Mars planet in that same folder. And here we are. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go open. We're going to go fit and center in the options and go OK. And again, just roughly where it goes. We're not too concerned. We're just trying to get a feel for the dashboard. Then we're going to get another image object here. I'm going to bring it in for the title. Choose. Let's use mission to Mars. Open. Fit and center and OK. We're just going to put it there roughly. And so when you look at it like this, you go, all right, that looks pretty good. Now we proceed to the next step, which is adding a little bit more formatting. So I'm going to add a black background. So the way to do that in Tableau, you can't just right click the back and say turn it to black. What you need is a blank object, which is this one here. And that's going to fill in the back part of your entire dashboard. Now, the easier way to do this is, let me show you the first way, which is kind of not the best, is if you bring it in as floating, and then, oh, actually, no, wrong one. Bring in the blank one, sorry. Okay, I'm going to switch it to black. You don't have to do this part. I'm just trying to show you. I have to go like this. I have to try and get it perfect. Even with the positioning, right, takes a couple of steps. So the easier way to do this is, instead of trying to do it floating, just go back to tiled. So if I go on tiled here in the bottom left, what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to put the blank behind everything. Okay, so if I go blank, watch what happens. It tries to put it on the whole dashboard. Okay, and automatically the tiled one is always behind the floating ones. So now that I've got that there and activated, I'm going to go into layout. We're going to go into background and just switch this to black. And when I do that, you're going to notice a little bit of white border on the edge. You can see that is the padding. So if I click on just the black part in the back, you're going to see this outer padding. We're just going to switch that to 0. And that ensures that it goes all the way to the edge. There you go. So you can see it's already starting to come together. And even with just a few elements, the dashboard is already so captivating compared to other ones that I've seen. Okay, there we go. So that's basically compiling the dashboard. Next, we're going to finish off the styling.
So before we continue, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that watches the content. Be sure to check out the Jellyman Education website. There is a 2-month free coupon in the description below. It is absolutely free with that coupon for 2 months. So you just go in, sign up, enjoy the content. And if at the end of the 2 months you're not interested, just cancel, no big deal. The advantage of the site versus on YouTube, YouTube is just a video. But on the site, it's a learning management system. So you can actually enroll into individual courses. You can track your progress. It'll track what you're up to. You'll be able to get downloadables. In addition to just the simple files in YouTube that I give you, you also get a lot more assets in these lessons. So for example, you get a huge image collection. There'll be extra downloadables. There's a whole bunch of ebooks. There's like cheat sheets that you can get. There's other portfolios that you can see. If I just scroll down here, there's heaps of other courses, and I'm building more and more as I go. And it covers a wide range of topics. And once you enroll, once you sign up, you get access to everything. It is that simple.
So now let's get into the final styling. But before we do, I'm going to show you one of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to doing dashboards, which is they try and make everything stand out. And when you do that, the dashboard just ends up looking busy. So let me just demonstrate quickly what that looks like. So I see people do this. First, they make this too big. They try and fill up the space intentionally. Okay. And it just feels like squeezed and tight. And then with the writing, for example, you don't have to do this. I'm just going to show you. maybe not 28, we'll go 20. They'll do this, and then they'll put a white border. Okay, and then they'll come in here, they'll make this background white, and then give this a border. Okay, and then they leave it like this, and it's just it just doesn't gel very nicely. So the idea is for the most important part to stand out, which is the data. So the data needs to be the first thing people see, or some sort of feature to attract the eyes. So let me just undo all this crap that people do, which I absolutely hate, and I'm going to show you how to do it properly. Remember, the key is space and removing formatting. So when you think of this visualization, how much stuff can you really get rid of? Well, I don't need the title, most likely. I don't need this second axis. I don't need all these lines. I don't need these lines. I don't need these lines. Even this altitude I can simplify. I don't need borders. So we're gonna get rid of all that. And if that's your first step, which is to clear stuff out, straight away your dashboards will immediately look better. So first, let's get rid of the stuff in the back. So the way you do that is you right click, format, and when you go up here to the shading, let me zoom in so you can see, you're going to see this paint can, and you want to turn this one to none. And that gets rid of that white in the back. So none. Okay. And you can see all these lines just, it's too conflicting. So that's the first step. And then I'm going to go into format and go workbook. And what I'm going to do is, to make it easier, I'm going to change all the font to white. So here in all, I'm going to go white. And you can see straight away a black and white contrast is just perfect. Okay, now we're going to get rid of all the other stuff. So this title we don't need. So right click, hide title. I'm going to get rid of this axes. We don't need to. Okay, so now we have axes at the bottom. We're going to get rid of all these lines. So I'm going to go format. And starting here in the border section, just show you. So that, I cut it off, but there's a border one there. Let me try that again. All right, there we go. So this border one, what that does is it gets rid of these ones. So these ones in the middle, anything that's in here are grid lines. Okay, and we're going to do that separately. So in this section for the column divider, we're going to turn this off. And again, you'll see as you remove things, it looks immediately better, and you'll actually see the bar charts better, which is what we're trying to highlight. So straight away that's gone. Then I'm going to go into this grid line section, and we're going to turn off the zero lines. We don't need that. We don't need any axis rulers or axis ticks. Sometimes you can leave it, that's okay. And then we're going to get rid of these vertical grid lines. So starting with the zero line, none, and you can see that dotted line here is now gone. We're left with just the vertical grid lines, which is in columns. I'm going to turn that. Watch what happens when you do this. All you see is the data. This is the key. If people notice you're formatting first, you've kind of failed. Now I'm just going to space this out a little bit. Okay. We're also going to increase this font size because it's a little bit hard to see. So format workbook. And I'm just going to increase this to maybe, let's try 11. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to space out this top title. Okay, and when you do that, everything else will start fitting. There you go. And we're going to center justify this as well. So I'm going to right click format. Click on this the justification section and just adjust all the appropriate ones to center. So I always start with the sheet one first. Center. Okay. I can never remember which, oh wait, here, I think it's this one. There we go. I can never remember which one's which. I'm going to do this and just adjust it. Okay, now everything is fitting. That's looking nice. Okay. We still haven't decided on our final placement yet. We're going to do that at the very end because we're going to use containers, and I'll show you how that works. We're going to adjust this title, this text. We're going to double click this, highlight also Control A, and maybe let's try 15. Okay. And maybe I'm going to turn this to black just so you can see it while I do this. This part I'm going to do left justified, and this one I'm going to do right. Okay. And we're going to do the whole thing italicized. There we go. And we'll make it white. Okay. There we go. And now in terms of the placement, I'm like, okay, it's super clean now. Now I want it to align nicely because when you try and align it here, like this one and this edge, you waste a lot of time trying to get it perfect. So we use containers. In our case, we're going to use a couple of them. One is going to be here, which contains a container for this and a container for this. Another one for this one, which is going to be a container for this one, and the one above. And when you do that, everything aligns perfectly so easily. So here in the dashboard section, okay, we're going to go and look for vertical container. We need two of them, one for this side, one for this side. So let's bring this and make sure you're in floating mode. So vertical container, let's drop that in there, and another one over here. Okay, let's just make some space. Now, when you bring things over into the container mode, it kind of just hovers. So the way you put it in there is you have to hold shift to drop it inside. So when you hover over it, hold shift, and you can see it drops inside. First one, let's bring this one in. Again, hold shift, and you just wait for it to fall where you want it, which is there. And now I've got them in a container. So the way to select the container is pick any element inside and double click the handle. And now you've got the container, which is always blue. So I'm going to move that roughly into place. Let's do it for this other one. Okay, let's grab this bottom one. So grab the handle, hold shift, and drop it in. Do it for this top one, grab the handle, hold shift, and drop it in. Okay, so now if I double click this handle, I get the container. We're going to move it over here. Now we're actually going to use another container, like this. Okay. Now you're probably going, well, this is overkill. Couldn't I just put them where they go? It probably feels like overkill when you only have a few elements, but remember what happens when you have 8 elements. To align them perfectly is such a pain, and to tweak them later on is even worse. So we're going to grab a horizontal container this time. Let's bring it here, like so. And we're going to select the containers now. So click Mission to Mars, for example, double click that handle. We're going to and same method, grab this handle, hover over and hold shift, and that drops it inside. Okay, so now it's a container within a container. This one, same thing, click the text, double click the handle, move it, and then hold shift. Now, sometimes you won't be able to drop it in. It's because if this is on top of this one and you try and do it, see how it doesn't show up? Because it thinks it's dropping it on itself. So just move it away first, then grab the handle and do it. Hold shift. You can see now I can put it on its side. And now I have all the containers in one big container. And if you want to see it, let me maximize this. Okay, there you go. When you go into the layout section, you'll see the hierarchy of all your objects for your dashboard. Okay, so now I'm going to pick any of these elements, double click to get the first container, double click again, and you get the full container. Now we can put it into place. So here I typically give it like, half a centimeter of space to the end, or a 1/4 inch. Okay, and I'm going to size it. Now when I do this, what you'll notice is everything has now gone all the way to the edges. Now it looks squashed again. So this is where we add our padding. Okay, so I'm going to move this up. Okay, I'm going to move this one down a little bit, like so, a little bit extra. And now we're going to add padding. So for example, here, Mission to Mars, I'm going to go into the layout section. And you're going to see inner padding. I'm going to set this to roughly, my go-to is about 20. So 20. And when you do that, you see it just adds a little bit of gap to all the edges. We do the same thing here. And actually, I would say that the planet's actually a pretty good size there. Let's do it for the bars. So again, inner padding, about 20. And then for the text, same thing, about 20. There you go. And it gives it just enough space. Yeah, so it doesn't feel so crowded. Now that we have the final positioning for everything, we can now adjust these bars and circles. So you can see it's just a little bit too big. So we just want to drop the circle just so it aligns with this bar. Okay, let's go ahead. So in here, into this viz, I'm going to go into this circle one. And we're just going to adjust it little by little until it fits. And you always have to come back to this dashboard to see. And just go back again, just a little tweak. just a smidge more. Is that right? Maybe it's a little bit too small. I'd say it's about there. Okay. Maybe a little bit more. This is now when you get really fussy. Okay. I'd say I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. All right. So that is pretty much our dashboard. Done. Super easy today, but super cool. All right. Now, next step is going to Tableau Public. Now let's publish to Tableau Public. And the first thing we do is make sure that we've saved the file. So I'm going to go File, Save As. I'm just going to save it as a workbook. So TWB, Tableau Workbook File. So Mission to Mars. I'm just going to call this Mission to Mars Tutorial. Save. So that's the first step. Now to publish, we have to log into our Tableau Public. And the way you do that, in Tableau Public free version, I'm going to go File, Save to Tableau Public As. And when you do that, unless you're signed in already, it's going to prompt you to sign in. If you are using Tableau Desktop, that same button is in this server one. Okay. After that click, everything else is the same. All right. So I'm going to go Save to Tableau Public As. And the reason it's important, you have to publish, because if, a lot of people I trained is becoming a data analyst, helping people get jobs. So you want people to be able to see your work, as opposed to saying on your resume, I can do Tableau, or I can do analytics, or I can do styling, or whatever, right? If they see your work, it's easy. Just send it in an email and they know exactly all the stuff you do. The Tableau Public link is one link. You send it to them. And a lot of times I can get a job like that. Right. So now I'm going to go ahead and sign into Tableau Public. All right. So my Tableau Public has just finished processing. You wouldn't have seen the prompts. Occasionally, you'll get a message saying you need to create a data extract. And what that means is we've got the underlying data and we have Tableau sitting on top. To send it to Tableau Public, we need to stitch those files together. That's what that extract part kind of does. So all you do with the extract, you just say create data extract, save it into your downloads folder, and then do the process again. File, save to Tableau Public As, etc. And once that finishes, let me just go here. Once it finishes, it will open up the browser. And if you're using an older version of Tableau Public, it will give you a message saying upgrade to the latest one. But whichever the case, if you have an issue getting to the browser, what you're better off doing is just go to Google, type in Tableau Public. It'll take you to this location here. public.tableau.com, app discover, and it's going to take you here to Tableau Public, and you simply just sign in. So you just think of this as your profile. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. It may actually do it automatically because I think I'm signed in somewhere else. No, I have to sign in. So now I am in Tableau Public, and if I click on my face, you're going to go my profile, and this link up here is the one you can send to employers. Okay, and if you come down here, you see all my dashboards, and here is Mission to Mars. You can see all the other ones I've done as well. Yay. So Mission to Mars, there you go. And now people can see your amazing dashboard. When you've done it, or you want to create variations because you want to have to play around with it, please send me the link on the comments. I would love to see the work you guys do. I'd love to showcase it and let other people see the work you're doing. But that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed another tutorial. Be sure to check out my website. Thank you all for listening, and see you next time.